You know that feeling when you're pushing for something? I mean, really pushing, and it feels like the goal is actually getting further away? It's such a frustrating paradox, right? Well, today, we're going to dig into why that happens, and more importantly, what we can do about it. Yeah, it's this super common thing. You decide to double down, you work twice as hard, you're putting in all the hours, but that finish line just seems to be laughing at you from a distance. This isn't just in your head, it's a real phenomenon. And believe it or not, a classic Zen story explains it perfectly. So, to really get to the heart of this, let's dive into this great little parable about a young, ambitious student who's just trying to find the quickest way to succeed. So, picture this student, just full of ambition, goes up to a wise old master and asks a really direct question. He wants a timeline, a simple, clear path to his goal. And the master gives him a simple, straightforward answer 10 years. Okay, it's a long time, but at least it's a target, right? Something to aim for. But see, 10 years just sounds like forever to our eager student. He's thinking, no way, I can beat that. I can outwork the clock. So he tries to, negotiate, thinking that more effort has to mean less time. And here is where it gets weird. The master's reply is the exact opposite of what the student, and probably you, expected. Double the effort? Now it's going to take you 20 years. The student, as you can imagine, is just completely baffled. So in this one last desperate attempt, the student basically offers everything. His whole life, no sleep, no rest, just pure grind. And the master's response? 30 years. This just completely flips the student's whole idea of effort and reward on its head. So what on earth is going on here? Well, this little story points to a really deep truth. The master's point is that when you become obsessed with a destination, with getting that thing you want, you completely forget about the journey. You're so focused on what's ahead that you trip over your own feet in the present. This brings us to two really important mindsets from Buddhist philosophy that totally explain the master's logic. It's all about the difference between being driven by the outcome versus being passionate about the process itself. So on one side, you have this thing called tanha. Think of it as a craving, a desire that comes from a feeling of lack, that feeling of, I'm not whole until I get this. And then on the other side, you have chanda. This is a passion that comes from genuine interest, from actually loving the work itself. When you're stuck in that tanha mindset, the actual work just becomes this painful chore standing between you and the prize. Imagine a salesperson who only cares about winning the company trip to Japan. Every single call, every meeting is just stressful, it's pressure. And as soon as they face a little rejection, they want to quit because there's absolutely no joy in the process itself. But now let's flip that. Imagine a salesperson who's working from a place of chanda. They actually love their product. They enjoy talking to people and helping them solve a problem. Yeah, the trip to Japan would be nice, but it's not why they do the job. And because they enjoy the process, a little setback doesn't crush them. They're resilient. And funnily enough, the goal often just shows up, way faster and without all that stress. Okay, so this all sounds great in theory, but how do we actually put this into practice in our own lives? Well, there's a really simple metaphor that helps. Think about your goals like you're climbing a mountain. So first off, you gotta acknowledge the peak. You need to know what your ultimate goal is. But, and this is the key, you don't stare at it the whole time. Instead, you bring your focus right down to your footing. Pay full attention to the very next step you're taking. And finally, every once in a while, don't forget to stop and enjoy the view. Appreciate how far you've come, the things you're learning. The real joy is found in the climb, not just in planting a flag at the summit. So really, the core lesson here is pretty simple. When you let go of that tanha, that desperate, clinging attachment to the outcome, you free yourself up to embrace chanda. You get to do your best work right here, right now. And paradoxically, that is the very thing that gets you to your goal faster and with a whole lot more joy along the way. So as we wrap this up, I want to leave you with one final thought, something to really reflect on in your own work and your own life. I want you to think about your biggest goals right now. Is all of your focus on the summit, creating all this stress and anxiety with every single step you take? Or have you found a way to actually enjoy the process, to appreciate the view, and to learn to love the climb itself? The answer to that question might just change how quickly and how happily you get to where you're going.